Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we're going to talk about in this video is just some general concepts about the difference between business and home networks. And I'm sure, and I'm actually hoping that this is going to inspire some great comments, some great conversation down in the comments. So what I've done, I've been thinking about this because we work on home networks, we work on business networks, what you would consider small business, medium business, and even large enterprise, right? When you think about size and scale and functionality. And we work on things like air gapped networks for automotive makers, right, where all of their robots are. So we get into all kinds of things. And I was really thinking about this, and so I came up with this list, and let's just go through this list real quick and talk about it, and let me know down in the comments what you think. So, um, a lot of our home users, we do have small home users that have, a single UDR or a single piece of equipment that's a router, a switch, a firewall, and that's good enough for them. And then we have folks who have a half a dozen switches, dozens of APs throughout their entire property. So we've got them kind of in between, but are they a business network at that point? Let's kind of like look at this. So I kind of came up with this list. Thought about this for a couple days, and so here in column A is kind of use or requirements, and then I matched, is it a business network or a home network with that, right? So, and I guess really for business, we could add internet browsing in there too as something that you're going to use the business network for. So, internet browsing usage, business and home. Streaming media, you could, I mean, if you're a streaming media company, right? So, there's always going to be some overlap between the usage, especially in 2024, right? So, um, 20 years ago, this the lines were probably much more clear than what they are now. But I think for the most part, streaming media, that's probably for a home network, along with gaming. Like I said, unless that's your business, which is going to be a very small percentage of users in the entire world, I think that belongs in the home category. That and gaming. Now, when we start talking about doing automation, so smart home, smart office, I think both the business and the home network, especially if your business and home office are the same, right? So we got to think about now people who work out of their homes full time, but there's also going to be some differences there too. Like, are they actually hosting applications? We'll get into that here. So the way that we do data management with a business is going to be much different. We have a whole set of protocols. Now, that's not to say that you can't use that at home, but home users are usually a little bit more footloose and fancy free with the way that they manage things, unless they are business and security minded. So the way that we handle that, the security is also going to be different. So especially if we are in a compliance driven situation, which we'll talk about here, our security is going to be of a higher tier for dedicated business networks than they may be for home networks. It doesn't have to be that way. I'm going to say this is the case the majority of the time. There's always going to be edge cases and corner cases. Business networks can be designed to host business applications and services. So you've got a rack of servers, you've got a huge amount of storage, things that are for a business to make money. You're typically not going to do that in a home network. Now, this one's going to be kind of controversial, but are you going to use consumer or prosumer gear? So a business could technically use consumer or prosumer gear, a home definitely, but you're going to lose a lot of the advantages of business or enterprise gear, such as support, high availability, the along with the support, being able to buy a contract where hardware is replaced within 7 hours, 14 hours, 24 hours, things like that. When you're paying for enterprise gear, and think of a hospital, a bank, a casino, even a manufacturing business, that is paying large amounts of money for their support and their hardware support. They're going to get their gear replaced. They're going to get answers much quicker than if you go with a prosumer company. Business networks can and are usually designed to easily have multiple locations, whether it's through VPNs or routing, site-to-site VPNs. So typically, home network going to be one location. Now, we do have customers who have multiple homes, and we do have them tied together. That is a very, very small percentage of what we're talking about here. Now, in a business network, we are typically going to use VLANs, VPNs. We're going to have that high availability and the redundancies. You could do that at home, but I don't know that it's necessarily expected. I think a couple VLANs in homes for IoT devices, maybe your cameras, if you've got voice over IP, that's going to, probably be an expectation, especially if you're working with us or any vendor who is going to properly configure a network for those services. But it's definitely going to be in a business that has those services. You're definitely going to configure that for security and things like that. When we get into Wi-Fi, WPA2, WPA3, both business and home, we use that. WPA Enterprise and 802.1x, typically we see those in business. I have not, I was trying to think, and I don't think I've configured that. And if I've configured it for you as a home user, let me know down in the comments. But I know we've done it for business, but I couldn't think of any home users where we did WPA Enterprise. Now, in business networks, compliance-driven security. So if you take credit cards, if you and you have that hardware on site, if you are dealing with protected information, health information, you are going to have compliance-driven security and the protocols, and that's going to drive the hardware, the configurations, the training, all these things. That's going to happen in a business, especially if you don't want to get in trouble for not doing the right things. Home networks, unless you are taking, hosting credit card applications or that kind of information, you're not going to be held to that standard at home. Businesses typically try to avoid downtime. I have places that, because they have redundancies built in, they've not been down in years. And when they do go down, it's an issue. I can show you businesses that have uptime literally of years. Home networks, unless you work from home full time, you are going to be okay probably with some downtime. And if you're not, you have invested in the equipment to be able to avoid that downtime. Business networks, depending on what they are, the network speeds are going to be faster. You're going to have lower latency. I mean, look at stock trading. Look at, like I said, banks, casinos, healthcare, large-scale manufacturing, government, right? You're going to have fast speeds, low latency. Home network, most of my home customers are still at 1 gig, and 1 gig is going to serve them, and I'm talking about on the wired and Wi-Fi 5, 6, 6E, that's all going to serve them very well for the next few years. But we have businesses that are moving into the 40 and 100 gig spaces very, very quickly. And with home networks, I think the general rule of thumb here is that you're going to have lower cost equipment, because you can go to a Walmart, a Best Buy, a Target, a Fry's, wherever, and buy a $100, $150 router, take it home, get your home network up and running, and be fine. Now, you could do that with a business with a UDR, or you could even roll the dice and do it with that same equipment. But this is a general rule of thumb when we look at this. And if you're watching this video, just know that if you've spent a lot of money on your home network, I think that we are probably in the minority, because they sell tons of cheap generic D-Link, TP-Link, Linksys routers. We run into those all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that for a home network, as long as you've changed the passwords, keep the firmware updated, and it's working for you. But we're typically not going to see that in a business. If we do, they're usually calling us because we want to upgrade that equipment and we want to replace it. So I hope this gives a little bit of a better idea. I don't know that it muddied the waters. I'm hoping that it kind of cleared this up, because I've really been thinking about this, and let me know what you think down in the comments. I think we're on the right track here. But let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what your opinions are. Let me know where you draw the line. And most importantly, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and share. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with affiliate links, a Patreon link. And if you need IT consulting, if you need us to look at your business or home network, head on over to williehowe.com, fill out that contact form, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Join our community at community.williehowe.com. We got a bunch of great folks over there. Come on over, ask your questions, and share your expertise. Once again, I'm Willie. I want to thank you for being here. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.